Good morning. Welcome to the Windsor Star News Cafe. I'm Don McArthur here with Dylan Kristy and our special guest, Robin Easterbrook. He's running for mayor.
Thank you very much. It's nice to be here.
Okay, thanks for coming. Okay, first of all, are you out there knocking on the doors every day? How's your campaign going? What are the folks saying?
Well, I know that a lot of people talk about how many doors they're knocking in as going for a council position, but when you're running for mayor, getting around to 80,000 doors is a really tough thing to try and do. So I'm doing what I can, but it's a uphill battle to try and get to everyone. So what I'm trying to do is get to as many events as I can, where there's a lot of people there, so that I can contact with them without having to go door to door to door to door all the time.
Okay. How many doors would you reckon?
I really should have one of those little supermarket clickers so that I could tell, but I really don't have a good estimate for you.
Okay. One of the things that you came in here, you had a press conference maybe a week ago or something like that, and you said you were going to disclose your donors, and you challenged all of your opponents to do the same. We took a look on your website last night, and you've done it.
I've done it. That's what I would call transparency, and I don't know whether anyone else picked up on that, because I didn't see anything about it in the newspaper the next day or anything, but certainly I hope that from this trail talk, the other candidates pick up on that. They say they're being transparent. They say they want open and honest government. So let's find out who's donating to their campaigns ahead of time. I understand my donor list is a small one.
It's about $1,150 from 4 people so far.
Yeah, that would be pretty darn accurate. Yeah. I thought it was 5 people, but yeah, you're probably right. But that's not the issue here. The issue isn't how many donors. The issue isn't how much money. The issue is, are people going to follow up on their pledges to be transparent? And I think that that's at least what I've been able to do, and I would like to see that same thing, certainly from the other major candidates.
Okay.
But even with that, these pledges, these donations, they help fuel campaigns. I'm sure you wouldn't mind having a bit more. Has that hurt your campaign so far? You were invited, well, I guess we should talk about this. You weren't invited to the chamber debate. You're not going to be coming to our debate that we're having here.
Right.
We'll just talk about the campaign so far. Are you disappointed? Obviously, after the debate, there was literature on every car waiting there. Can you just approach that?
Well, you've got about 4 different questions there. So let me start from the back and work forward if I can. And if I miss something, remind me. But yeah, I was excluded from the chamber debate. I was there hearing what was going on. Obviously, I'm very interested in what they had to say at that debate. But I felt it was important that the chamber members, even if the Chamber of Commerce itself felt that I was not a candidate that needed to be included, the chamber members needed to hear some of the message that I've got for them and needed to know where to go to find out more about my message. So yes, while I was in the luncheon, we put some postcards on windshields so that the membership would have some idea that it wasn't just those 3 guys.
Okay.
And just your website, just to give it a plug, it's a great little URL you have. It's a rightleaderrighttime.com?
Yeah, I thought that the name was great. I think if I had to do this over again, I might try something a lot more direct, like Easterbrook for mayor. Yeah. But I was looking at my reasons for running, and I just felt like the people I was looking at that were running for mayor, or the ones that were rumored to be running for mayor, they weren't the right person for this right point in time, and I wanted to get that across. And that's why I wanted to say right leader, right time. We've had some other good leadership at different times throughout the city's history, but they wouldn't necessarily be the leader for now.
Okay, and we got to get this out. So we're having a debate next Tuesday. We've invited who we perceive to be the 3 front runners, Horwitz, Dilkins, and Milson. Yep. We don't count you. Are you holding it against us? Are you peeved? Are you going to be here just to watch? Or what's your take on that? Give us a shot if you want to.
Well, yeah, I hold it against you. But I'm very hopeful that through things like Trail Talk and through things like the news conference that I'm doing later this morning and through other initiatives like that, that the Windsor Star is going to recognize that not only am I an enthusiastic candidate, but I also am an experienced person. I don't come in here naively, and I think I bring a skill set that this city really needs.
Okay, so you worked at Chrysler, right, for about 28 years, something like that, a lecturer at the University of Windsor.
Yep,
You're on
13
the City
years at the university.
City Windsor Heritage Committee.
Yes, chair that.
But you do lack some basic council experience. So a question
No doubt.
we can put to Horwitz, and obviously a question we can put to you, why don't you run for a council seat before you run for mayor?
Well, I looked at the people. I did consider running for council, for a council seat first. And I looked at the people that were running in my ward, and I said to myself...
Which ward's that?
Ward 4.
Okay.
I live in Walkerville.
Oh, wow, Ward 4, that's a good race there.
It's a good race, but there's some good candidates there. There's several people that I could be happy with seeing run in that ward and being successful. But I looked at the mayor's position, and I just had to, hit my head against the wall and say, you got to be kidding. And that was the reason I made that decision to go ahead. I've been involved with council through the Heritage Committee for the last dozen years. I've also been extensively involved with different groups in administration, mostly through the city planning department because of the Heritage Committee. So I'm not exactly naive about administration and about council processes. Is it going to be a whole different ballgame when I walk in there? It probably is going to be, but I don't have a problem with that.
Okay. The huge debate on the campaign trail, what is a tax freeze, what isn't a tax freeze? You say this constant refrain of a tax freeze is a myth?
Yeah.
Explain.
Well, let's start just from the position that I believe it's a myth. I think that if you look at things like the mill rates, et cetera, over the last 2 council terms, we have seen increases. And if you look at things like sewer surcharges, which we do pay and goes back to the city, that is also part of a tax increase. And even some things that you don't hear about. The city has been getting an education tax refund, and we haven't heard about that, but it's a significant amount of money, and none of that education refund goes back to those of us who have paid the education tax in the first place. The city gets it, goes in their coffers, they use it. That's also part of the increased fees that we're paying. But over and above that, even if you say, well, there has been no tax increase, I think it's important to look at the fact that that comes at a cost. It comes at a cost of cutting our neighborhood parks, comes at a cost of cutting our neighborhood pools, it comes at a cost of cutting community centers, it comes at a cost of restricting so many services in this city that we have to say that's included. It comes at the cost of maintenance of our buildings. You've got to factor that into the whole equation. So I would say overall, let's not argue about whether this has been a tax freeze or a tax increase. Let's say that this has cost us heavily, and it's going to cost us even more heavily in the future.
Interesting. Okay. Well, one thing that's kind of garnered a lot of attention from your press conference, you said that you don't want Windsor to be a world-class city. You just want Windsor to be the best mid-sized city, right?
Yeah.
Can you kind of explain that? A lot of people kind of took offense to that, saying that Windsor should always try and strive to be the best city anyway. Why not strive for the best in the world? What do you mean by your statement?
Well, what I mean by that statement is I want Windsor to be the best city it can be as well. Mm-hmm. But I don't expect it to be New York. I don't want it to be New York. Have you been to New York? Great place to visit. Don't want to live there. I don't even want it to be Toronto. Nice place to visit, but I don't want to live there. That's why I'm in Windsor. Mm-hmm. I want to see us in Windsor having a dynamic city that's great to live in, that's got a lot of amenities for the people living here, that's affordable, but I don't think that means being world-class and pursuing whatever that means. I think we have to look at the fact that we can be world-class in some things without being this so-called world-class city. Our tool and die and mold industries are world-renowned. I've traveled all over the world with Chrysler and Daimler Chrysler, and they talk about Windsor and that aspect of our industry. But that doesn't mean that we have to be world-class in swimming pools.
Mm-hmm. No, that's fair.
Okay, so you have sort of, from your website, 3 main policy planks. One is to launch a bicycle registry. The other is, to cut down on theft. The other is to launch review of all city bylaws, make sure they're all sort of effective and efficient and working as they should. Also, to sort of, as soon as you get in there, to call a summit of business and community leaders to take a gauge. And you said you have an announcement, though, today. Is it on one of those, or is there something else coming up?
No. What I'm going to do today, the news conference is being held at the Kobodo Club, where the Chamber of Commerce excluded me from the debate on Wednesday, and I'm going to take the 12 questions that were posed to the 3 candidates on stage, and I'm going to answer those 12 questions, and I'm going to do it in the same time frame that each of them had available to answer each of those questions.
Okay, then who's the historical figure that you most admire?
Oh, okay. I would say that to pick that favorite historical figure, it's like choosing your favorite food. You got to look at your mood at the time and the circumstance, okay? So.
Okay, live on Trail Talk, who's the historical figure you most admire? It could change by the time you get to the Caboto Club, but right now, right here.
Right now, right here, and in this election, I would have to say it's Winston Churchill, because he was a man who had a lot of personal success and failures in his public and private life, and he still managed to change the world for the better, I believe, by his actions. And he had a motto of never, never, never give up. And I believe that that's what I need to focus on in this election. I'm never going to give up on Windsor, and I'm never going to give up on this campaign to be mayor, because I think it's worth doing and it's got value to the citizens of Windsor.
Now is not the end. It is not even the beginning of the end. It is perhaps the end of the beginning. Winston Churchill, that is a great choice, way better than Ronald Reagan. Robin, put it on a tee. We welcome to Trail Talk. I've enjoyed this. Some closing remarks.
Well, I guess in closing, I would encourage people to look at my website, Right Leader, Right Time. Read more about what I have to say. If you want a lawn sign, I've got extra. So give me a call. The contact information is there on the City Hall website.
Okay, Robin Easterbrook, he's running for mayor. Thanks for joining us on Trail Talk in the Windsor Star News Cafe.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.